award was contract with a national organization to provide direct services. This organization is the Oasis Institute out of Florida. We found that through experience, the Oasis Institute had been dealing with other housing authorities that were in worse shape, a lot worse shape than the city of Prichard's housing authority was. So we thought that we would get professional help before a problem got bad.
Okay, so $180,000 grant, public housing drug elimination grant. What does the grant entail? What are some of the programs that will be funded through this particular grant?
The program will run, will support 8 programs. We have what's called a neighborhood stabilization program. We will have a youth substance abuse program. We will have a summer enrichment program. We'd have police patrol. We would also have resident council training, seminars and workshops. And we just have an overall picture which entails the overall aspect of the neighborhood, not only drug elimination.
And when you add all of this together, the overall outcome is to do what?
It's to make the neighborhood better and safer.
Okay, Mr. Range, thank you for coming out also.
Thank you.
You're with Oasis Institute. Tell us about your firm and exactly what do you do?
The Oasis Institute's a nonprofit 501c3 that has been named one of HUD's quality of life initiatives. And we work with housing authorities nationwide trying to solve the crime and drug problems. We find that housing authority staff are usually so busy fighting fires, trying to stay afloat, that they can't give the necessary time and attention to neighborhood stabilization activities. It takes a lot of time and effort. When you have problems that have been entrenched for a number of years and you have trends of slum and blight, it's necessary to spend the time working with the residents one-on-one and coordinating activities.
Now, you mentioned neighborhood stabilization, and I know that's one of the portions of this grant. What exactly is neighborhood stabilization?
Well, we find in coming into Prichard, we don't have preconceived notions. We do an in-depth analysis of each neighborhood, but we realize that we were asked to come in because there are some crime problems and there are some drug problems. And one of our goals is to stabilize the neighborhood. That means getting residents actively involved in supporting programs, being involved in setting the standards for the community, ensuring that the police are providing the service and protection that's necessary, and offering viable alternatives. When we achieve neighborhood stabilization, then people aren't afraid to go out, the criminals can't set up and become entrenched in the neighborhood, and the negative image of public housing tends to change because there are some good things happening, and it becomes as safe and stable as any other community in the country.
Okay, and Anthony, I know you were very instrumental in getting the grant. You wrote the grant, some of the grant, or you're a grant writer. Is there a lot of crime in public housing in Prichard? Is there a lot of drugs in Prichard?
I think that in the city of Prichard, as compared to its neighboring city, the city of Mobile, that the problem is nowhere near as bad as it is in the city of Mobile. The aspect or the format that we took when we approached this was that we wanted to maintain that attitude that Prichard does not get as bad as the city of Mobile. Now, there is crime and there are drugs in the city of Prichard and in the Public Housing Authority, but statistics and crime reports have shown that at least reported crime is not as high as it is in the city of Mobile.
And Mr. Range, of course, you work with housing authorities all over the country. As a matter of fact, do you work with the Mobile Housing Board?
Yes, we do.
Okay. The question I wanted to ask you was, as you travel the country, people have the perception that public housing is just a haven for crime, a haven for drugs. Is that the case, or is it not the case?
It depends. In some cities that is the case, where the crime and criminal element has been firmly entrenched. Other areas are on the fence where they're not as entrenched. But what we find is that in most housing authorities, the large ones and the small ones, the majority of the residents who live there are good. They don't participate. It's outsiders who come on the property and ruin the quality of life for others. And our programming will help offer the viable alternatives, give residents programs they can get involved with, help improve the quality of life, create some economic opportunity for residents, and provide direct enforcement activity against those people who are coming on the property and those who live there who are participating in crime and drugs.
Okay, and Anthony, briefly, give us a brief synopsis of some of those programs that you mentioned. You mentioned summer enrichment, GED educational training. A brief synopsis, if you could, on some of the programs.
Okay, the Summer Enrichment Program is going to be an 8-week program which is designed to take youthful residents while they're out of school and involve them in activities such as math, English, tutorial programs, as well as offer recreational activities. As you're aware, within the city of Prichard, due to economical conditions, the city is unable to provide proper recreational services to the residents, and so as a result of this program, we were able to get that started. We will also offer GED training to those individuals who are over the age of 16 and who, for some reasons beyond their control or for their control, have dropped out of school.
And Mr. Range, as we were discussing this grant, we mentioned the title, Public Housing Drug Elimination Grant, and I mentioned that it had a negative connotation to it, and you were about to give me an explanation or your view of why that name is not really synonymous with what the whole program is all about. Drug elimination, it makes it sound like there are just a lot of drugs there, but what are your thoughts on that?
Well, HUD did officially title the program the Public Housing Drug Elimination Grant. The purpose of the grant is to fight crime and drugs in public housing. I think it gives a little bit of a negative connotation to saying that there's a lot of drugs in public housing. There are problems, but oftentimes it's no more than any other areas of the city. The whole purpose of the grant is to provide the alternatives for residents. It's not just fighting crime and drugs, but it's offering those alternatives, the other programming, the GED programming, a skills training program, entrepreneurial training programs, so that residents have a choice. They can choose to participate in a variety of activities that will give them some economic advantages, and it's not just fighting drugs, but creating those other alternatives.
Now, I had an overview of what your firm does. Could you take that module and just apply it to, say, the broader community? How you all go in and identify certain areas. You do it with public housing, but could that module be used in just, say, the broader community?
Sure. We've worked in private communities that had no affiliation with public housing and found that we had the same success.
Okay, and Anthony, I know the Housing Authority has another grant that comes through the governor's office in Alabama. What is that program all about, and have we been successful with it?
Yes, we've received an award of $10,000 from the Governor's Office on Drug Abuse Policy to work with residents 5 to 18 years of age. This is the third year that we've been awarded that grant, and we've been very successful. In fact, we've been told that we will be one of the model programs throughout the state.
Okay. Well, Anthony and Mr. Range, we appreciate you coming out on Impact, and we'll follow up later in the year to see how this Public Housing Drug Elimination Grant will operate in the city of Prichard, and we'll return after this break.
They're coming over tonight.
Hank Williams Jr., he was born to boogie.
Get down, baby, 'cause I ain't no rookie. I was put it apart and I was born to boogie.
Now available for the first time ever, Hank 22. 22 of Hank's biggest hits from his gold and platinum career.
Family tradition, there's a tear in my beer, whiskey bent, hellbound.
Hank 22 includes the Monday Night Football Boogie.
You ready to rock?
If you don't agree that this is the ultimate Bocephus collection, just return it and you will get your money back.
Plus, Hank will send the first 50,000 callers the words to these songs, free.
Call toll-free 1-800-767-2200. That's 1-800-767-2200. Or send check or money order to Hank 22, P.O. Box 8990-S, Buffalo Grove, Illinois 60089.
Welcome back to Impact. I'm Carnell Davis. And on this segment, we'll focus on the Mobile Bay chapter of the American Red Cross's Project Share program that began accepting applications this week. And we have with us as special guest Ms. Sandra Kennedy. She's the Social Service Director at the American Red Cross to tell us about Project Share. Ms. Kennedy, thank you for coming out on Impact.
Thank you, Mr. Davis.
Project Share. Tell our audience exactly what this program is all about.
Okay. Project Share and the actual term SHARE stands for Service to Help Alabamians with Relief on Energy, is a program that was developed in 1982 between the American Red Cross and the state of Alabama and Alabama Power Company to meet the rising cost of energy for the elderly and disabled. So this program was designed to assist them during the heating season to pay some of those large heating